Well, guys, I'm going to say this. People warned Vince McMahon not to do this, but yet he still went and did it. That is making this deal with Saudi Arabia, basically accepting blood money. I mean, every event that he's had in Saudi Arabia, people have not called it by the event it's being known as. They've called it blood money. That's the event title they would call it. The first Crown Jewel, blood money. Greatest Royal Rumble, blood money 2. Super Showdown, blood money 3. Crown Jewel 2, blood money 4. That's basically how they viewed it. And not just fans, casual, hardcore, whatever, but insiders, Hall of Famers, alumni, all of them have told Vince McMahon and those in the upper echelon of WWE, don't make this deal. Even the government at one point had to get involved to try to convince WWE, don't go through with this. But they still did. Vince still did, thinking it wouldn't be a problem. And despite how you might feel about some of the shows, whether they were hit or miss, afterwards, you could say there wasn't a problem. Superstars were able to leave, go home, go back to the States, get back to the States to be with the family, or get back to the States in time to be part of a show the next day. Now, Vince, give him credit where credit is due, did try to salvage the situation by telling any superstars and production staff or employees, you don't want to go over there, that's fine, you don't have to, I'm cool with that. Well, despite all the warnings people gave him, and despite all the other times where things may have, despite how you might feel about the shows, gone off without a hitch, hit or miss depending on certain matches and stuff, despite how you might feel, people warned him that eventually something was going to happen, and guess what? It did. In case you guys don't know, because it's been making the rounds all over social media, all over the news and media outlets, people from Hugo Savinovich, who used to work for WWE, to Dave Meltzer, to Brad Shepard, to Sean Sapp, to Pro Wrestling Sheets, you name it. Everybody has been saying something similar, if not identical. You see, you all praise the fact that SmackDown was a great show, probably the best of the year because of the NXT involvement. And I don't disagree with that. I do not disagree with that. However, we all know that if what happened in Saudi Arabia did not occur, then the best SmackDown of the year, and so far, by a long shot, that happened on Friday, we know that if what happened on Thursday after Crown Jewel didn't occur, then that SmackDown we got on Friday wouldn't have existed. And the only reason the NXT invasion of SmackDown in the main roster existed was because of what happened. Now, despite the reports you might believe, depending on which ones you believe, WWE superstars were not able to get out of Saudi Arabia until a lot later. So in other words, they couldn't make the show. That's why NXT took over. And here's the reports, and I'm sure you've heard about them by now. The first report brought out by WWE and followed up by Atlas Air, which was the airline they used, was the reason nobody could leave was because of mechanical issues. Well, at least that's what we were told. It was due to mechanical issues. What's funny though is the individuals that did get out are not going to have any favoritism with the superstars or the employees, maybe even their own families. Those superstars that were able to get out on their own were Brock Lesnar and of course the damn chairman Vince McMahon. Excuse my language, God. But they were the ones that were able to get out without a hitch. Now, with that said, that's not going to, like I said, that's not going to draw any favoritism or love for many of the employees or superstars involved. Now, some superstars and employees, backstage employees, production crew, they were able to book Well, they were able, according to reports, able to book their own flights out of there, while others still had to remain because Atlas Air was the only way they had to get back home. But, sorry about that, but, despite that, the mechanical issues were one report. Later on, another report came out that, according to people like the Lex Man, who follows these people, Alex out of Houston, who's going to go by just Alex at the beginning of 2020, just Alex. According to some of the reports he read from Hugo Savinovich, Brad Shepard, Sean Sapp, many others, Dave Meltzer, it seems that mechanical issues were not really the problem. That instead it was the Crown Prince himself that ordered the superstars off the flight due to the fact that Vince McMahon cut the feed early of Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Vince cut the feed of the very event that was taking place in Saudi Arabia off from Saudi Arabia early. And the reason he did that was apparently, according to reports, Vince is owed somewhere around the $3 to $5 million, if not billion-dollar mark in revenue or in payments for the last show they did, Super Showdown. Now, there's also reports that it has to do with the women being involved this time around and having a women's match in Saudi Arabia, which is a big no-no, but WWE was able to, I guess, pay for that. But even though WWE paid for that to occur, they didn't get no payment in return, not just for Super Showdown, but apparently they didn't get no payment for Crown Jewel, this Crown Jewel, if that's true. So Vince is owed a bunch of money by the Prince, and the Prince didn't pay him. This got the representative for the Middle East, Saudi Arabia that is, at the U.S. House of Representatives involved. It got the government here involved. So, long story short though, the superstars were able to fly back home, I think thanks to intervention by the government here in the U.S. and the representative for Saudi Arabia. But yeah, this is not a good look. This is not a good look for WWE. Because people warned Vince. I mean, Vince is like, oh, there's no problem. The Prince, there'll be no problem. The Prince is a cool guy. He'll be on time. Yeah. Guess what? Problem. And apparently, according to some of those reports, Vince got into a verbal fight with the Prince himself over this. So again, that does not paint a good picture. And here's the thing. WWE is stuck in this deal for the next 7 years. So unless they can get the government involved to try to get them out of it, they're stuck going over there. And after what happened with the superstars being stranded from superstars like Buddy Murphy, No Way Jose, and I think several others, in their own verbiage, tweeting online in their own verbiage of, we're not going to do this again, it makes you wonder how the heck WWE is going to be able to put on another show if a majority of the roster is not going to want to go. So, again, people warned Vince McMahon about this. You could put on a great show in a country like Saudi Arabia if there wasn't any controversy, and I say this with all due respect, if there wasn't any controversy surrounding that country and the royal family that run it. But Vince doesn't want to listen. He doesn't want to listen, and this is the price he pays. This is the price he pays. Because he doesn't want to listen. So Vince, Vince McMahon, I don't know what you're going to do. You put yourself in this situation. People warned you about this. Now, unless the Saudi Arabia government finds a way to overthrow the Crown Prince and get him out of power, perhaps there's a shining beacon at the end of the light. Or the end of the tunnel, I should say. But Vince, this is on you. This is on you and those that made this deal happen. You didn't want to listen to reason, now you got to deal with it. The only positive out of this, Vince, is now you have no choice. You have no choice but to go with the flow. Go with the flow that was started on Friday thanks to Triple H and NXT. You may have improved it, or you may have approved it and everything, but now you got to follow through on it. You have no choice now. You put yourself in this predicament, and now you got to deal with it. All I'm going to say is this. I hope every wrestling promotion out there, from AEW to Major League Wrestling to Impact Wrestling, do not make the same mistake. I hope the Khan family does not make this mistake. I hope Anthem Sports does not make this mistake. I hope the people in charge of MLW do not make this mistake. Because the last thing you need to do is put your men and women that compete for your company, put their butts on the line for your company. The last thing you need to do is put their lives in danger. Because that's basically what we had here. We had superstars' lives put in danger. Basically, when they were asked off the plane by the Crown Prince and not allowed back on because the feed was cut, you know what that was? That was a hostage situation. Whether you want to deny it or not, that was a hostage situation. You were keeping men and women that want to put food on the table for their families, you were keeping them hostage. You were holding them hostage because, what? The guy that you owe money to cut the feed, and rightfully so, despite how you might feel about him, cut the feed to the event that takes place in your very country because you didn't want to pay it. Despite how you want to sugarcoat this, people, what happened to the men and women of WWE was a hostage situation. And you and I know it. So hopefully WWE learns the lesson, and hopefully, pray to God, they find a way out of this deal so they don't no longer have to go to that damn country. Unless that country, and I say this with all due respect, unless that country gets rid of the damn Crown Prince, overthrows him, and gets somebody in there that understands that the people that live there deserve to have a choice, deserve to live by their own decisions, deserve to have freedom, be able to do what they want, when they want. Until that day comes, no promotion, wrestling, MMA, professional football, baseball, whatever, should go near that country and make a deal with that Crown Prince. That's the honest truth. That's the honest truth, folks. But people warned, and his thing, people warned Vince McMahon not to make this deal, and yet he still went through with it. Then they told him, you're going to suffer consequences, and guess what? That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what happened, because the majority of your roster that went there was held freaking hostage, despite how you might sugarcoat it. Paul Levesque, if I'm you, I talk to your father-in-law and I get him to end this deal. Get the damn government involved if you have to, but get out of this deal so you don't have to go through this again. Look, I have no problem if you want to go to Saudi Arabia, but go to Saudi Arabia under different circumstances. Not while it's under the regime of somebody that's in a controversial spotlight for a lot of events that have occurred outside of WWE, tragic, vilified, whatever. You want to go to Saudi Arabia, fine, but go at a time when it's not run by someone that's under a spotlight, due to a lot of stuff surrounding him that's controversial, vile, and tragic. But again, you were warned, Vince. People warned you. People warned you and those in the upper echelon of WWE not to make this deal happen because of what could occur, and guess what? It did. Now you got to deal with the consequences. But you know what? I know I'm not the only one that's talking about this. I cannot wait to hear what OTRS Central has to say. I cannot wait to hear what Just Alex the Lex Man has to say about this. Because I would love to hear what they have to. You know what I can't wait to hear? If he hasn't done it already, I cannot wait to hear what JD from NY206 has to say. Oh, those three combined. I cannot. And Brian Zane. Oh, I want to hear what he has to say, but cannot wait. Cannot wait to hear what they have to say. Because I guarantee you, them, along with anybody else, is going to tear what happened afterwards at Crown Jewel, or after Crown Jewel, anew. They're going to tear it anew. Guarantee you. Guarantee you. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the whole situation. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation that WWE should have not gone through because people warned Vince not to make this deal happen. Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment below. Talk to you later.